Hello, bookkeepers and accountants. In this video, we are going to share a piece of software that is going to help you ease your life and ease your processes of bookkeeping and accounting for e-commerce sellers. And we're going to show you how to use the software, which is called Link My Books, and how you as an accountant or a bookkeeper, how exactly you can use it for yourself. We have recorded also a video of how to use Link My Books for sellers, which we're going to have link in the description as well in case you're a seller here. But this video is mostly for bookkeepers and accountants. In the description, we're going to have also free trial for Link My Books and a special coupon code that's going to help you save money. Today with me, Daniel Little is the co-founder and CEO of Link My Books. He's going to share with us this tutorial today. Dan, man, what's up? Welcome.
Hi, Vova. Thanks for having me on the show again. Yeah, all good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay, man. Traveling, working
As always.
out, reading, eating well.
Good.
Yeah, just
leading a great life.
Yeah, man. I'm happy. And yourself as well, man. So,
Yeah, I'm excited
Awesome.
for this one. I think that accountants and bookkeepers struggle with e-commerce clients. Quite often, we get a lot of them come to us who say that they actively avoid e-commerce clients because of how complicated they are, all the different taxes at play, and sellers tend to sell on multiple channels. So I think that something like Link My Books is definitely made for that, to help them to succeed with those clients and help them gain those advisory monies so that they can help the clients grow whilst also being a profitable enterprise for them.
Yeah, and it saves time with the work, right? So then they can maybe have more clients, or maybe have less mistakes with the clients as well.
Yeah. If that's typical, is that they'll have, say they might have like 2 or 3 clients that are on e-commerce. They're spending a lot of time every month manually downloading reports, manually putting them through Excel, not really 100% confident that the figures are exactly spot on, but they're almost all the way there. So they just feel that they're okay. The client's not really 100% confident with them either. Sometimes they're worried about whether they're calculating the taxes correctly. So I think that today we're going to put all of that to bed. We're going to show you the way to do this properly with software so that you don't have to have any of those concerns, and so that you can go from having 3 clients that take up tons of time every month to having potentially 30 clients that take up just as much time, but are obviously a bigger revenue stream for you as an accountant or bookkeeper.
Pretty awesome. Yeah, man. Let's do the tutorial, and then also let's touch, if possible, on the pricing. It's going to be helpful as well. And of course, we'll share the best offer in the description.
Absolutely. Here we are inside a demo account on Link My Books. So the first thing that I thought we could look through is when you're an accountant and you come, or a bookkeeper, and you come to us and you're going to connect your first client and you're going to get them set up and connected. So the way we do that is add a new client. So if you're a totally brand new accountant to the system, you'll not see this page. You'll just go straight to the add new client page. First thing is we're going to give the client a name. So we're just going to call this Dan's. We'll call it Vova's Test Company. Vova's Indian Surprises, because you are in India right now and you might be going to sell some Indian surprises. Not sure what those could be. And then we'll call it. Cool. Here you can put a reference number for the client. So like if you're a large accountant who has like lots and lots of hundreds of clients, and each client has a client reference number, then you can add that here as well. And that becomes more beneficial later on in the process if you're going to download a list of your clients and you want to know who's who, sort of thing. So that's quite useful to know. So we'll say next. Then you're going to select where the client sells, so which marketplaces and channels they're selling through. So at the moment we support 8 different ones. So Amazon, eBay, Etsy, Walmart, TikTok Shop on the online marketplaces side of things. And on the shopping carts and POS systems, we've got Shopify, Square, and WooCommerce. So I'm going to say, for example, that you sell on Amazon and you have a European Amazon account, and you're also selling on Amazon North America. And I think also you've got an Etsy store. It doesn't really matter what we select here, but we'll say next to that point, I've selected what channels that client sells on. So then the next step is going to be, do I, as the accountant or bookkeeper, want to pay the subscription? Or do I want the client to pay the subscription for Link My Books directly? So we'll touch on pricing in a second once we've gone through this bit, but effectively it's up to you. So you can choose, do you want each of your clients who you add into Link My Books, do you want them to pay the subscription themselves? Or do you want to have one overarching subscription that you have, which then covers all of your clients? And if I'm completely honest, it's definitely more beneficial for us if you take this one, because we'll get more money. Because the clients will pay a higher price individually as multiple clients added together. Whereas if you as the accountant have a subscription, the benefit is that you can then bundle all those clients together and you can get a larger subscription which covers multiple clients, which is often more cost effective versus if the client was paying us directly. But it is up to you. We have a very mixed bag. Some accountants will prefer the clients to pay directly, but some accountants build in this to their pricing. So they might say, we are going to charge £299 or $299 a month for e-commerce accounting. And that includes up to $1 million in revenue. And it includes your Xero or QuickBooks account. And it also includes your subscription to Link My Books. And therefore they just want to pay us for the subscription and they want that to be included. So I'm going to take that as the option because I think that's probably 90% of our accountants will do. And then we're going to connect the bookkeeping account. This is where I'm going to get a bit stuck, actually, because I don't think I've got a demo account live that I can do. But at that point, you would basically just say, you would either click Xero or QuickBooks, and that would take you across to Xero QuickBooks. You would then connect the client's Xero or QuickBooks account. For this demonstration, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use our demo one that's already connected to the system. So that's a good point that if you're adding a new channel, so say, for example, in the future, Vova's Enterprises, or whatever we're called, the company, is going to sell on WooCommerce as well, and you've already got them as a client inside of Link My Books, then you can just go through this process, select WooCommerce, and then get to here. And instead of having to go across and connect to Xero again, you can just select Vova's account from the list already here. So here we're just going to say confirm for that. That's now the Xero account connected. And then the last step is to fill in the client's details. So I'm going to say it is Vova Evan. And the email I'm just going to say is vova@linkmybooks, which is not a real email, just in case anyone knows. And then I'm going to say my name is Daniel, and message to the client is just, please can you connect up the sales channels as per the instructions given by Link My Books. So what now happens is when I click submit, this then creates those client sales channels that we selected. So we selected Amazon North America, Amazon Europe, and also Etsy. And then an email will go out to this email. I'm not going to do this because otherwise it'll come to me. And at that point, Vova would then log into the system through his Xero or QuickBooks login. So no need to remember any usernames or passwords. They'll just click the link in the email, log in with Xero or QuickBooks, and they will be presented with a screen that looks like this. And it will basically say your accountant has invited you, and then it'll list the channels. So in our case, it was Amazon Europe, North America, and there would also be an Etsy one. They would literally just click the connect button, and then that would take them across to the likes of Amazon, and they would say, okay, I agree to give access to my sales channel. And then they would come back to Link My Books and it would show as connected. And once they, as the client, has connected all of the sales channels, then they are prompted to log out. They don't do any further setup. The accountant, me in this case, gets an email to say the client has now finished connecting up all the sales channels, and the next step is to go through the setup wizard, which we can go into now. So that's the first part. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, so far makes sense.
So far so good. Cool.
If anyone would have any questions, you're welcome, guys, to drop them in the comments. And if something was not clear, we're going to answer in the comments. And this way, in case we'll forget anything in this video or something's going to not be clear, the comment section will kind of hopefully, I think we'll do a good job, hopefully. But if not, it's going to be finalized there if something was missed in the comments. But yeah.
Absolutely. And if anyone wants to ask we've got accountants in our support team as well. So you can get in touch with support@linkmybooks.com and we can help you through that as well if you've got any specific questions. So now we've got to the point where we have invited the client to connect the sales channels and the client has connected the sales channels, and now we're ready to go through the setup wizard. So now I'm going to jump in as if it's this Amazon account. I'm going to go into the setup wizard. You would be prompted to just come in there straight away. So you would click the client's name in your dashboard, which I can show you in a second. And then it would automatically say, you need to set up this account, and it would take you to this page. So what we're going to do now is we're going to basically set up the chart of accounts that we want to use for the different transaction types. And we're also going to confirm the tax rates. And for an accountant, they will know what a chart of accounts are and a bookkeeper. So you can do one of a few things here. You can either use our default chart of accounts, and what that does is it will create an e-commerce friendly chart of accounts and add it into the client's existing chart of accounts in Xero or QuickBooks, and it'll just add in new nominal codes basically. And that way, you know that all the transactions are mapped to relevant e-commerce chart of accounts. That's good if you have a new client who hasn't been using a proper e-commerce chart of accounts previously, or for example, a different piece of software, or for example, if you have been doing this for them manually and you haven't already got a custom set of accounts set up. Otherwise, the alternative is you choose custom chart of accounts. And what that means is you already have your chart of accounts set up inside of Xero or QuickBooks that you've been using for this client, and you want to continue using that. So therefore, you'll be able to map our transaction types to your existing chart of accounts. And then the third option is once you've got a handful of clients with Link My Books, you might find that you want to have like a streamlined chart of accounts that you use for all of your clients, where you use the same nominal code and you use the same names for all the different transaction types. And therefore, you might want to set up one client, and then you might want to, in the future, just copy what you've been doing on that client. So say, for example, we've already had a previous client set up. We can say copy, and that would allow you to choose which client do you want to copy the mappings from, and then it would copy that chart of accounts across to the new client's account. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say custom chart of accounts just to show you what that would look like. So here it actually shows you our pre-populated default chart of accounts, but you can change these to whatever you want. So these that have pulled through here, they've come through from the Xero integration. So in this case, we're connected to a Xero account. So what it's pulling up is the existing chart of accounts from Xero, where you can select whatever accounts you want to use. So all the different transaction types are listed down the left-hand side with explanations of what each of the things are. It tells you whether they're a revenue or expense or liability or asset account. And then, as I said, we list our default chart of accounts on the right-hand side, and you can change those. So for the sake of this, what I'm going to do, just ignore these at the bottom. I've just been playing around with this recently, so these are not set correctly. There should be something different, but I'm just going to assume that they're all correct, and I'm going to say next. So that'll then save those onto this client's sales channel. And then because this client is a UK client, if anyone is using this for a US or an Australian client, then they won't see this page. So we can just think of this as only for UK people relevant. Then we'll need to know whether they're VAT registered in the UK or not. So I'm going to assume that they are, because most businesses that are using an accountant are probably of that size who will be VAT registered. So we're going to say next. And then again, these are all going to be UK specific tax rates. But if it was a US or an Australian client, then they would see US or Australian tax rates. But from the UK point of view, we are splitting all the sales down by the different types of tax category. So just to run over them quickly, you've got standard rated products, i.e. 20% VAT products that are shipped to the UK customers where the seller is responsible for VAT. Those are 20%. Reduced rated are 5%, zero rated, zero rated. And then you've got sales that are going to the UK where Amazon is responsible for the VAT, and those are also zero rated. And then you've got sales going outside the UK. And then depending on where they've been dispatched from, you've either got zero rated or no VAT. Here again, we've pulled in the tax rates from Xero. So if you don't agree with what we have suggested, then you can change those to whatever you like. And then the same for the fees and other transactions. These are all the other types of transactions that will incur tax rates. And again, we pre-fill with what are our relevant suggested examples. Now, something to note at this point is that from the 1st of August, I don't know when this video is going to go out, but from the 1st of August 2024, UK sellers are going to incur some different VAT rules for transactions that occur after the 1st of August, specifically around Amazon fees. They are all going to be 20% VAT instead of reverse charges. And so this, what we're seeing here, is actually an old example of what the wizard looked like, because I'm in the beta environment just for the demo account. But the new version actually splits this into tax rates before the 1st of August and tax rates after the 1st of August. And for any existing Link My Books customers, that's been handled automatically. So there's no need to worry about that either. But now that we've confirmed all the tax rates, we'll tick the button at the bottom to say that we've confirmed with my accountant, which in this case is you. So yes, you are confirming that you're responsible for making sure that those are correct as per this client's setup. And then we say confirm. And that is it. That is now the client fully set up. So we have invited the client. They've connected the sales channels. We've been informed that the client has finished the sales channel connection process, and we've come in and we have set up the wizard, which has mapped the accounts and tax rates. And so that's now the client fully set up. There's obviously a lot more customization that can be done if you want it, which we'll probably not cover in today's video, but you can do things like apply tracking codes to different marketplaces if you're using those in Xero, or tracking classes in QuickBooks. You can also customize the mapping even more. So if, for example, you wanted to break down Amazon sales even more, then you can come into here and you can dive into Amazon sales. So then if you click into Amazon sales, for example, you can see that it's broken down. So this has actually got one of our other custom setups set on it, which is depending on the delivery method. So this is orders fulfilled by Amazon, orders fulfilled by the seller, and then orders that are added to the Amazon system from another system. So for example, a client is getting their eBay orders delivered by Amazon. So you can separate all things like that out. And then if we dive down even further, we can see all the different types of transactions. So you may want to separate out shipping into a different account. In that case, you can select that here and you can change it to whatever you want it to be. And the same for your seller fees. Maybe this is the pre and post August 2024 thing I was talking about, but maybe you wanted to have a look at the different types of fees, and maybe you want to separate your subscription fee because that's a once a month fee, whereas these are all like specifically related to the sale. So there's a lot of customization that can be done directly inside the mapping page. So don't think that what we did now in the quick setup is that's it. There is a lot more customization that can be done. So now we have looked at the process of adding the client, the process of getting the wizard set up, the process of customizing some of the mappings. As I said, there's lots of customizations that can be done. So if you've got specific client needs, either stick them in the comments below and we can address those, or you can email support@linkmybooks.com and we can help you get set up depending on how the client needs it to be done. So now we're at the point where everything is ready to go and we can start to send data across to the client's bookkeeping system. So at that point, I'm just going to see if I've got any that are actually ready here. This is just a demo account, so not everything is ready. Let's see if we've got one here. Yeah, we do. Okay, so this is, how we need to think of this is with Amazon, for example. This is very similar for a lot of the other channels as well. Every time the client receives a payout, what we are doing is we are breaking down what that payout is made up of in terms of all the transactions. We look up every single order. We check where it was dispatched from. We check where it was dispatched to. We check the type of product that was sold to make sure that we account for it accurately to the correct account and also using the correct tax rate. So instead of you putting all this through a spreadsheet and working on it for hours and then not really being confident that it's correct, you'll know with 100% confidence that we've checked every single individual order to make sure that it is accurately accounted for. So here, for example, we have a payout which was for the pay period 16th of May to the 27th of May for £6,187.12. This is all just fictional data, by the way, and all the different types of transactions that it was made up of. So as you can imagine, if you were doing this manually, that is a lot of different transaction types. And inside of those, there's a lot of different orders. So if we take just a few of them, you've got, for example, sales principal shipped to the UK. And these is going into a test product group, but that's just by the by. That's £378 worth of sales. And we're accounting for those to the sales account. And because they are a standard rated item going to the UK, we're applying 20% VAT on them, 20% tax. The same here as well. These are some more. The reason these are separated is just because they're from different product groups. So these are standard rated products, and this is a test that we've put together. But all the different types of transactions are broken down with the amounts that those transactions totaled. They go into the correct accounts, and then they have the correct tax rates applied. So once this gets posted across to Xero as an entry, it'll go in as an invoice. If it was going to QuickBooks, it goes in as a journal entry, a sales journal. And then the amount that is received into the bank is £6,187.12, and the invoice matches that. So what then happens is it automatically goes green on your bank reconciliation page, which means that it's nice and easy for you to do the month end or quarter end reporting for the client, because every time you see a deposit into the bank, you'll have a corresponding Link My Books invoice, which breaks down what that's made up of. That means that your reconciliation each month is like click, 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 all done. Maybe a 3-4 minute job. And now all of the figures are in the P&L or in the correct sections, and they've got the correct tax rates applied. So you can now do your month end or quarter end work for these e-commerce clients, which previously took you hours and hours every month. And now it takes you like 10 minutes. So you can have a lot more of those clients, and you can spend more time on the financial analysis side of things and helping the client to grow their business, which is the next thing we'll have a look at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, man. Amazing.
So now we're at the point where we've invited the client, they've connected their sales channels, we've set them up, we've now posted some data across to Xero, and that all automatically reconciles up. So the next thing we'll have a look at is the financial analytics, because every month or every quarter when you meet with your client, you will probably want to come into here and have a look at it, because it's quite useful information to help the client to grow. Because it's one thing being compliant on the bookkeeping side of things, making sure that you've accounted for the correct finances and also that you've got the correct tax rates and everything applied. That's priority one. But then to help the client grow, it's sometimes useful to have a slightly different version of information than what is available through XERO. And the reason for that is because in here, you can do things like, say, for example, this is all the channels that I've got connected, but let's say we're only going to look at this client's Amazon account. So we'll select that. This is going to show you a date range. So you can select whatever date range you want. And then it's going to give you an overview, which is the sales versus the last period, the refund ratio versus the last period, which is really handy for working with the client. If you can see the refund ratio is going up, let's work out why. Let's do some things to reduce that because that's going to help your bottom line. Yeah. You can see the total tax liabilities and the total amount of time that you have saved versus doing this manually. So in this case, one channel on average, people save about 6 hours per month. So you can imagine that if you've got lots of clients with lots of channels, that's quickly going to add up. That's a good way for you to be able to sell the idea of Link My Books to the client. So they are used to just paying you for sorting all this. You can then show them that this is the amount of time that we've saved by using Link My Books. And that's allowed us to invest more time into providing you advice on how to financially grow your business, making better business decisions. So you can pitch like that. You've got all the usual things like profit margin, return on investment. Obviously, this is slightly high. This is obviously fictitious numbers. I'd love to see an 8,000% return on investment, but I think it's unrealistic.
Margins are not bad either. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Then you've got a mini P&L for the period that you've selected as well. So you can see all your revenue, how that's broken down, all your fees and the net profits and stuff like that. And that's your bird's eye overview of the business. And that you can actually download as a nice PDF as well to include in your monthly management accounts if you want to. But where it gets really cool is when you start to look at it P&L by channel. So here what we can do is we can see if you've got a client who's selling across, let's say, multiple channels, let's just select them all just for ease here. Then now we can start to have a look at, this is how that grand total is for the P&L for that period. But what about if we're looking at per sales channel? So we can look at like, how does their Amazon sales compare to their Etsy sales? And how does that compare to their Shopify sales? So you can start to build up a picture of, okay, what are the channels that are producing the best revenues and the best profits? And therefore, where should we spend the most time in trying to grow those sales channels? So it's a really good way to like know where to spend your time. And a good example of this is there's lots of clients who sell on Amazon and also on Shopify. They'll branch out to Shopify and they will spend probably 95% of their time on Shopify because it's tricky and because it takes a lot of work and a lot of like creative ad making in order to build traffic and get sales. But then what you might find is that 95% of their profit comes from Amazon. So being able to show them that in this system and be able to say, listen, I know that you really like the idea of Shopify and you really like the idea of spending time on that and you think it's going to grow. Let's not neglect the thing that's making you 95% of your profit here. And it's much easier to have that conversation when you've got the information at hand. And then the other thing we can do here is we can break it down by marketplace. So I'm not sure if this demo account has, oh, it does. So we can break down the Amazon side of things by individual marketplace, because in Amazon Europe, for example, this fictitious seller is selling on Amazon UK, Germany, Spain, France, Italy, Netherlands. And so we can then compare those things together and we can go down even further and we can say, okay, you're spending a lot of time on your European sales, making translated listings and trying lots of different ads, but all of your profit is coming from the UK. So don't neglect that. Or it could be the other way around. It could be this quarter, you've seen a huge increase in the sales in Spain. Let's work out what that is and let's try and replicate that across other channels, or let's try and grow that even more. Maybe Spain is a huge opportunity for us. It's like being able to pick out these opportunities is much easier when you've got this level of data. And then the third and final tab is the VAT audit. And where this works is, if we just don't break those down, is it's basically breaking down all the revenue and all the expenses by the tax rates that have been applied. So this is particularly useful if you're like running a VAT audit every quarter just to validate that the numbers are what you'd expect them to be. So if you know that the client, like 25% of their sales on average are for zero rated products, and then you can come and quickly validate that here. So it's quite useful from the accountant side of things to be able to see how the revenue's been split down in terms of tax rate. It's also useful if you are bringing a client over from either a different software or from doing this manually to compare your figures that you did over the last 3 months against what we think it should be over the last 3 months without having to send any information to Xero or QuickBooks and without interfering with the data that you've already got in there. So it's a nice, quick and easy way for you to be able to compare. And if there's a huge difference, we can then in the support team can help you to understand why there's a difference. And then more likely than not, it'll be that the client has potentially overpaid VAT. And so if you redo their stuff using Link My Books, then you'll get a VAT rebate from HMRC. So that's quite useful to have. That's something that's only on if you've got a UK client. So US and Australian clients wouldn't see that bit. So that's the financial analytics. Then the last piece is industry benchmarking. And that is a really cool new feature that's come out in like the last 6 months. And so what that does is it allows you to, so we've looked at the bookkeeping and getting that into their system so that you've got a compliant tax financials. And then we've also looked at financial analytics for the business, like how does it perform? And the last thing we're going to see now is, okay, so how does your business, the client's business, compare with other businesses that are the same size in terms of various different KPIs? And this is, again, something that you can come into as an accountant or bookkeeper each month or quarter with the client. And you can look at, okay, for example, your fee ratio, which is the percentage of your revenue that you spend on fees, yours is 38%. So 38% of your revenue from Amazon gets spent on Amazon fees, whereas the industry average is only 30. So you are in the lower 50% quartile. And then what's really powerful is you can then click on this, improve your ratio, and it'll take you across to a blog post that I wrote, which talks about how we've calculated the fee ratio, but it also talks about, here's some tips on how to improve those ratios. So there's 10 things that you can look at and you can work on with your client, which you can then hopefully improve this fee ratio. And this is the whole point. It is, instead of you spending loads of time and effort on getting the data into the bookkeeping system, let us handle that bit and then come in here and work with the client to advise them how to make better business decisions and how to improve all of the financial aspects of the business. And I can guarantee you that e-commerce clients will love it. And you'll be able to charge them a good fee for it as well. So it's a win-win because we'll be automating the bookkeeping for you, and then you can spend all your time on advisory side of things, which is where the big profit is for you as an accountant or bookkeeper. So there's plenty of things that you can look at in here, which can help you to better advise the client on ways to grow their business.
Yeah, well, in the description, we'll leave free trial of Link My Books and a special coupon code for accountants and bookkeepers to save money. Yeah, I think it's very nice, man, what you've shared now, because then people can help other businesses grow, basically. Then those businesses will keep basically paying to you as an accountant, as a bookkeeper, and you as a bookkeeper and an accountant. If you like what you're seeing, you'll kind of keep paying to kind of Link My Books. And if you use my link in the description, since I'm an affiliate of Link My Books, I'm going to get a little commission from that as well. So it's like a win-win situation.
Yeah,
and
everybody wins.
I think it's cool.
Happy days. But yeah, as we say, if anyone has any questions about anything that we've covered today, then leave a comment in the video below and either Vova or I will get back to you on those. If you've got any more specific use cases and you wanted to discuss those with our customer support team, as I said, they are made up of accountants and bookkeepers. And so they have a really good knowledge of accountancy and bookkeeping and e-commerce and Link My Books. So they're very well positioned to be able to help you to understand whether Link My Books is going to be able to cope with your specific situations. Very confident that in 99% of the situations we can cope with it. And if we can't, then we'll typically try and build something out custom for you anyway. Whatever the use cases for your client, if they're selling mixture of tax rated products, they're selling across multiple countries, across multiple channels, we can handle it all. So get in touch with us and we can get you sorted.
It's also, Daniel, it's part of the free trial, is it right? If people sign up just for the free trial, they can still get the onboarding for free.
Correct. Yeah. So you sign up for a free trial and you can actually go on one-to-one video call with our in-house accountant team, and they can help you to onboard the client and make sure that everything is set up as you want. We'll even like help you to send the data across to Xero and reconcile off the first month's worth of bank statements to show you just how easy it can be, so that it's just a smooth process for you to go from however you're doing this now to using Link My Books and moving forward into the future.
Awesome, man. So we're going to have, again, the best offer in the description. And yeah, let's touch on the pricing, like how much.
So if we go into solution, no, it's not, it's in features, flexible billing options for accountant and bookkeepers. Then here, what you can actually do is there's a little calculator. So say, for example, I am the accountant and I'm adding Vova, and he's my only client and he sells across those 3 channels that we talked about before. And let's say he does less than 1,000 orders a month. So we'll put in 3 channels. It's going to be £36 a month for Vova's account. But this is where it starts to get very price competitive if you've got multiple clients. So Vova, who is selling on 3 channels, is going to be £36 a month. But let's say we've got 3 clients just like that. So they all do just less than 1,000 orders a month. So we're going to need 5,000 orders a month. And between them, we need 9 channels. It's now £69 a month for 3 customers. So it's £7.67 per client sales channel per month. Whereas when we just had Vova paying by himself, it was £12 per channel, 36. So if those 3 clients paid us directly, we would end up with 3 lots of 36, which is 108. Whereas when you come to us as an accountant and you bundle those together, you're paying 69. So you've got a few options there. You can rebill it to the client, each of those at £36 a month, and you can make a bit of a kickback. Or, as I said, what a lot of our accountants and bookkeepers will do is they will build it into their pricing. So they will have, as I said, say $299 or $299 per month. And that includes Xero, it includes your Link My Book subscription, and it includes your end of year accounts, any tax returns, blah, blah, blah. Just so that it's like one price, the client pays you, you handle everything. And then the clients tend to like that, and it just makes it really simple from your side of things as well. You know that Link My Books is great value for money, so it's not really going to break the bank that you build that into your pricing. And it'll save you a whole lot of time as well. So if you counter the amount of money you spend versus the amount of time you save, it's going to be far outweighed.
Yeah, beautiful, man. For big firms, like I see like there's 250K orders per month. I guess that's already quite huge, right? But if there's even bigger companies that are accounting and they're like still maybe using manual methods and maybe other software or whatever, they're looking for new solutions, can they contact you directly, or what do you think? Or mostly this is just what's it built for?
So the largest clients that we have individually as a business is doing 1.2 million orders a month. So the system can cope with huge clients. That's very rare that you'll have a client that's doing that amount of order volume, but it is possible. The 250 order per month is our enterprise plan. But if you've got an accountant, say, for example, who has 100 clients and they are between them doing 480,000 orders, then all that we do is we just double stack these. So you would have 250K orders on one plan and you would have another 250K order plan. So it would be double that. That would include, each of those includes 10 channels. So then you would just add on additional channels that you need. So the way it works is your first 10 channels are included at that price. So it's $249 a month for, doesn't matter whether you have 1 or 10 channels, that's included. But then say, for example, you needed another channel and you needed 1 more, then it increases the price by £11 or $13 if you're in the US. So if you had a really large accounting firm who had, say, 100 sales channels they need to connect and the clients between them had 250,000 orders, that would be $1,239 a month or $1,239 per sales channel. So it's always a very reasonable price when you work it out per client sales channel. And as I said, like if you're paying £12.39 or probably about $15 in the States to automate someone's Amazon account or eBay account or Shopify account bookkeeping, you're not going to be able to, even if you like timed it and you quickly logged into the channel, you downloaded the reports, you put them through a macro in a spreadsheet, worked out all the tax liabilities, copied all that information into an invoice on Xero, and then reconciled it through a clearing account. That's maybe going to take you at minimum probably 2 hours. And that's being very, very like positive. It's probably going to realistically take you half a day, and that's for £12. So it's just not worth your time. It's you should definitely be using something like this. And so even if we scale up even higher, like it just gets as 1,000 sales channels, it only gets more and more cost effective per sales channel. So it's always a great investment in my eyes. Obviously, I'm a bit biased, but I think it is.
Yeah, I understand, man. But here, is there an option to, like, of course, as we mentioned, there's free trial in the description. Because for sellers, we have an offer, like a coupon code. Is there an offer for accountants and bookkeepers as well on this page, or is there something like that, or mostly this is just what we're seeing?
So they can either start a free trial straight away, or they can book a demo. If they book a demo, they'll actually get booked in with our accountant team, who will be able to show them around the system, and then they will be able to help onboard them. It's only when you come to actually subscribe to pay. So the free trial, we don't take any card details or anything like that. It's just log in and start a free trial. Once they then go to pay, on the checkout page, they can put in your coupon code, and then that will give them the discount. I think it was 50% off for 3 months, I think, if I remember rightly. And then that gets tracked back to you.
Pretty awesome. So we're going to have it all in the description, free trial, the coupon code. We can add that blog post, or generally your blog. We can add your blog so people can read more about what you guys do. Anything else I should have asked you about pricing that kind of we covered deeply this part of bigger clients, which is interesting. But then do you think
The number one thing I would say for accountants and bookkeepers is that this is 100% going to save you time, and it's going to be a much more efficient way for you to manage this process. But just book a demo call, jump on with one of our accountant team and just chat through your current setup. How are you doing this now? We will 100% be able to make you much more efficient at this and take you from pulling your hair out at the end of every month because it's taking you so long and the client is putting pressure on you and you're not really 100% confident that your numbers are there, to being 100% confident and not really having to lift much of a finger each month. You can then focus solely on the advisory side of things, using the analytics and the industry benchmarking to provide added value to your client, which will ultimately mean that the client is likely to stay with you longer term, which increases your business's revenue and it makes you more profitable as an accountant. So as Vova said, it is a win-win situation. Like, we win because we get a subscription. The client wins because they get accurate data and great insights to be able to help them grow. And you win because you're using a tool which is making a lot of the hard work easier and is still helping you to keep a highly profitable client.
Yeah, and most likely the client won't churn because they're getting extra value. And if they're getting like business advice that it helps them grow, then they might churn, but this lowers down the chance because, again, they get extra value, their business grows. Like, why would they leave? You know, I think
100%. It makes them more sticky. Even just having extra apps and software connected to their XERO or QuickBooks account makes them more sticky, because then if they leave you as an accountant, you were previously managing all of those apps for them. And so now they've got to train their new accountant on how to use it. It's a win-win situation.
Amazing, man. So again, we're going to have everything linked in the description. Another question that if maybe you have like frequently asked questions by accountants and bookkeepers that you get, maybe we can address them in this little FAQ session. Maybe you're getting something like again. Maybe some of our viewers are like, hey, but I want to ask this question. Maybe it will match their question. But so are there any questions like that, you think, where people are like continuously asking them, and maybe we can tackle that kind of thing?
I think the main few that we get are, if they're doing this, say at the end of every month, they download a monthly statement from the sales channel and they're doing this monthly, like, how do we manage that process of taking them from monthly to taking it to individual payout based? And that's really easy from our side of things, because if a payout spans 2 calendar months, we split it into 2 parts. So say it's April and May, you'll have an April part and a May part, which means that if you've already done all the April accounting, then you can just start with the May part onwards, and you know that you're not going to double account for anything. So it makes it really easy. Plus, we will hold your hand. Like, our support team will be there to hold your hand and make sure that you migrate across from, if it's another software or a manual process or spreadsheets or whatever, we will help you get to the point where you've transitioned to Link My Books, and from that point onwards, it's just going to run on autopilot. It's going to be really, really simple. So that's probably the biggest thing we get. And then the second biggest thing is probably to do with selecting the right tax rates. Like, accountants are great at accountancy and knowing tax inside out, but e-commerce is really complicated because of the international aspect. So we're very aware that a local accountant is probably not going to be mega knowledgeable around all the international taxes that get applied to the various different countries where your clients' orders are going to. And so that's why we have spent the time as a company and as a group of accountants to make sure that We understand exactly how those taxes should be applied, and we can provide you with the information with like sensible defaults. Obviously, it is still up to you to make sure that they apply for the individual clients. But again, our support team is there to be able to help you to work through that decision and make sure that you get the right stuff set up. So I think I would say that it really doesn't matter what the client's situation is. We will be able to help you to make the process more efficient. So I would say use the link below, get in touch with the support team, make sure that you explain to them what the client's needs are, how you've been doing things now, and then they will be able to help you to make sure everything's set up correctly. And then the only other thing that I mentioned was around sometimes the accountants will ask like, how much access does the client have? And that is entirely up to you. Like if you decide that you only want the client to be able to connect it and then you want to remove them, that's fine, we can do that. Most people will have the client still on the account so that they can log in and see the settlements and they can see the financial analytics and the benchmarking, but they just can't make any changes to the settings. And that's a default. When you invite a client, they do not have access to change the settings, so they can't play around with everything that you've already set up. So it makes it nice and easy for you to be confident that everything is set up as you expected it to be. Cool. Any other questions that I haven't covered, just stick them in the comments below and we'll get to them.
Definitely. Comment section is open for any question. Feel free. No matter if it's a newbie question or a professional, we'll do our best to get back to you. Free trial, best offer in the description. And again, if we missed something, just let us know in the comments. Dan, thank you, man, for helping us. We also have just in case, the tutorial for kind of more for seller side. If someone has like a e-commerce shop and they want to do it kind of like use Link My Books and they're not an accountant or bookkeeper, still it can help them kind of streamline their process and improve it. But it's also there's a tutorial for how to use Link My Books for sellers. And yeah, Dan, thank you. Unless there's anything else you want to add, something we missed maybe or something.
I think we've covered everything. As I said, if we didn't know, just get in touch and we can help you with whatever situation you've got.
Awesome. Thank you very much for today, man. It was awesome. Pretty much clear to me. And have a good day, everyone. And you too, Dan. Thank you.
Cheers.